Eritrea is quietly positioning itself in global financial reform discussions with the IMF at ECOSOC 2026, marking a shift in Africa's economic voice. Developing nations are raising their voices, demanding a more equitable international system that truly reflects their needs and aspirations. These calls for change are echoed in protests, policy debates, and high-level summits, where leaders from the global south are united in their pursuit of fairness and opportunity. No longer content with policies crafted in distant capitals, these countries are stepping forward with bold proposals to reshape global economic governance for the 21st century. Their determination signals a new era, where the voices of the marginalized are finally being heard. Eritrea, a nation long known for its fierce self-reliance and skepticism toward multilateral institutions, is now making its voice heard in high-level financial reform discussions. This marks a significant shift in Eritrea's approach to international engagement as it seeks to influence the rules that shape the global economy. By joining this movement, Eritrea aligns itself with the global South's push for a fairer, more inclusive financial architecture, one that supports sustainable development, addresses historical imbalances, and empowers nations to chart their own economic futures. This script explores Eritrea's bold step into the center of global financial reform, examining its active engagement at the ECOSOC 2026 Forum and its ongoing dialogue with the IMF. Eritrea's participation is not just symbolic, it represents a real commitment to shaping the future of international finance. Eritrea's involvement is a vivid example of developing nations claiming their rightful place as architects of a new, more balanced global order, one where every nation, regardless of size or history, has a seat at the table and a voice in shaping the world's economic destiny. The United Nations ECOSOC Forum on Financing for Development is a vital platform where global leaders tackle the world's most urgent economic challenges. In 2026, the forum's focus sharpened on overhauling the outdated global financial system to better serve developing economies. Delegates debated innovative financing, debt reform, and ways to make multilateral banks more responsive. The energy was driven by a shared purpose among global South nations to move beyond short-term fixes and demand lasting structural change. Participation in the ECOSOC Forum is essential for any nation seeking to influence global economic policy and build alliances for reform. Eritrea's engagement at this high-stakes forum marked its entry into a crucial debate at a transformative moment for the developing world. At the ECOSOC 2026 Forum, Eritrea's permanent mission orchestrated a pivotal meeting that could shape the country's economic trajectory for years to come. The Eritrean delegation sat down with Mr. Regis Sonda, Executive Director for the Africa Group 3 at the International Monetary Fund, a key figure representing the interests of numerous African nations within the IMF. This meeting was not just a formality. It was a calculated and deliberate move by Eritrea, signaling its intent to participate more actively in shaping the future of the global financial system and to have a voice in decisions that impact developing countries. By engaging directly with an African representative at the IMF, Eritrea sought to align its national priorities with the continent's broader reform agenda, emphasizing unity and collaboration among African nations in international financial negotiations. Historically, Eritrea has maintained a cautious distance from the IMF, participating in only infrequent consultations and sharing limited economic data. This approach reflected a long-standing skepticism toward international financial institutions and a desire to protect national sovereignty. However, this recent meeting marked a notable shift, a strategic step to open dialogue, test the waters, and assert Eritrea's right to be heard on the global stage, all without immediately committing to any IMF programs or conditions. Eritrea used this opportunity to present its case for a fairer, more inclusive international financial system, advocating for reforms that would better serve the needs of developing nations and to build relationships within the IMF that could prove valuable in the future. This engagement marks a transition for Eritrea, from a position of relative isolation to one of active participation, joining the growing call for institutions like the IMF to evolve and adapt to the 21st century realities faced by developing countries. It's a carefully calibrated diplomatic maneuver, reflecting both Eritrea's caution and a new willingness to engage with the international community as the country seeks to balance its independence with the benefits of global cooperation. The global financial reform movement centers on three pillars: fairer representation, improved lending access, and sustainable debt solutions. Developing nations argue that institutions like the IMF and World Bank still reflect outdated power dynamics, limiting their influence over decisions that affect them most. Accessing affordable financing remains a challenge, with restrictive loan conditions and slow disbursement undermining development. Many countries are trapped in cycles of unsustainable debt, with current restructuring frameworks failing to provide real relief. Reform advocates demand more flexible lending, reduced conditionality, and a comprehensive debt resolution mechanism. These issues are deeply interconnected. Without a stronger voice, developing countries can't secure better lending or debt terms. Eritrea's engagement with the IMF signals its alignment with this holistic push for systemic change. Eritrea's engagement at the ECOSOC Forum is part of a broader African movement for financial reform. African nations, united by shared experiences of systemic inequality, have become a powerful bloc demanding a new global financial architecture. The continent faces high debt burdens, limited access to affordable capital, and the Africa risk premium that stifles investment and growth. Africa's reform agenda calls for greater representation in the IMF and World Bank, fairer debt restructuring, and expanded concessional financing. Eritrea's participation aligns it with this continental consensus, contributing its voice to Africa's collective effort. As African nations speak with one voice, their influence grows, making their demands for a just and development-oriented system harder to ignore. Eritrea's approach to development is rooted in self-reliance, prioritizing domestic resources and capacity over foreign aid. This philosophy shapes its economic planning and its cautious stance toward international financing, favoring long-term, internally funded projects. Eritrea seeks economic resilience, aiming to insulate itself from global market volatility and external policy dictates. Its skepticism toward multilateral institutions stems from concerns about sovereignty and dependency. However, Eritrea's recent engagement with the IMF is not a rejection of self-reliance, but a strategic evolution. By joining the reform dialogue, Eritrea advocates for a system that respects sovereignty and supports country-led development. This pragmatic move recognizes that even self-reliant nations need a fair global system to thrive. For developing nations, engaging with institutions like the IMF is challenging but essential in today's interconnected world. Strategic multilateral engagement allows countries to protect their interests, influence global rules, and access valuable expertise. Participation offers opportunities to learn, share best practices, and build alliances that strengthen domestic policymaking. It also builds international credibility, signaling a nation's commitment to constructive global cooperation. For Eritrea, engaging with the IMF is a chance to present its vision, challenge stereotypes, and advocate for reforms from within. Dialogue is key to effecting change. Institutions can evolve when member countries demand it. Eritrea's meeting with the IMF is a step toward shaping a fairer global financial future. The global financial order is shifting as developing nations gain economic and political influence. Once dominated by a handful of wealthy countries, global finance now faces demands for a more multipolar representative system. Developing nations are forming coalitions like the G77 and African Union to amplify their calls for reform. This unified front pressures established powers to democratize global economic governance. The need for collective solutions to crises like climate change and debt distress makes inclusive cooperation essential. Eritrea's engagement reflects this broader trend. Developing countries are now central to shaping the future of global finance. The era of a few dictating the rules is ending. A new, more inclusive chapter is beginning. Eritrea's engagement with the IMF at the ECOSOC 2026 Forum is both symbolically and practically significant. This participation signals a new chapter for the nation, one where it is no longer content to stand on the sidelines of global economic discourse. Instead, Eritrea is stepping forward, eager to contribute its voice and perspective to the international community. It marks a shift from cautious isolation to active participation in global financial reform. This transformation is not just about presence, but about influence. Eritrea is now helping to shape the very conversations that will determine the future of international finance.
As Eritrea's permanent representative to the United Nations, I have witnessed firsthand the importance of our nation's voice in these critical discussions. Eritrea believes that meaningful reform of the global financial system is long overdue. We are committed to advocating for fairer representation and equitable access to resources for all developing countries, says Ambassador Sofia Tesfamariam. Our participation is not just symbolic. We are here to ensure that the unique challenges and aspirations of nations like Eritrea are heard and addressed in the halls of international power.
By joining the call for fairer representation, equitable finance, and sustainable debt solutions, Eritrea moves to the forefront of a vital global debate. Its advocacy for these principles reflects the aspirations of many developing nations seeking a more balanced and just economic order. Developing nations are no longer passive recipients, but active partners in designing a more resilient and inclusive system. Their collaboration and shared experiences are driving innovative approaches to long-standing challenges, ensuring that their unique needs and priorities are addressed.
We must move beyond rhetoric and take concrete steps toward reform, Ambassador Tesfamariam emphasizes. Eritrea stands ready to work with partners across the globe to build a financial system that is truly inclusive and responsive to the needs of all.
Eritrea's story is a reminder that developing countries are now co-architects of the global financial system, bringing new ideas and energy to the quest for equity. Their leadership is essential in crafting solutions that are both innovative and inclusive, ensuring that progress benefits everyone. As more nations step forward, the momentum for reform grows, promising a future of shared prosperity and cooperation. The world is witnessing a transformation, one where collaboration, mutual respect, and a commitment to fairness are laying the foundation for a brighter economic future for all.